West Asia stands on the absolute brink of an all-out catastrophic war yet again. This time it's getting serious as well. The fragile diplomacy of the past few months is completely shattered, replaced by a rain of missiles and a terrifying escalation of military force. But the most alarming development is what Donald Trump has posted on Truth Social just a couple of hours ago. He said the United States will take the Kharg Island. Now that's important because if the US moves on Kharg Island, it is not just a military strike. It is a move to seize Iran's economic lifeline. So how did the situation really escalate so rapidly, so quickly? Earlier, US Central Command confirmed strikes on multiple targets inside Iran overnight. Explosions were reported in Bandar Abbas, in Kashm, and areas near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps said US forces struck coastal outposts, IRGC service facilities, and the area around Bandar Abbas airport. In response, Iran fired on US military bases in Kuwait, in Bahrain, and Jordan. And Kuwait shut its airspace under emergency measures and cited Iranian aggression as the reason. The US urged all its citizens in the region to seek shelter immediately. And this is now the third straight night of American military action against Iran, and each night has brought a sharper Iranian response than the one before. The fragile ceasefire that was reached in April now appears to be collapsing pretty much altogether. President Donald Trump accused Tehran of stringing the United States along in talks. American officials say the latest strikes on key facilities inside Iran are meant to force a ceasefire. Iran, however, says it will not negotiate under military threats of any kind.
We will hit them hard on our terms, on the targets that improve the environment for us to operate in and undermine the capabilities that Iran wants to have. Again, they can't do that to us meaningfully the way that we can to them, but we're also clearly signaling to them, you have a choice. You have a choice in the way that you respond, and you have a choice with our incredible negotiating team in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the Vice President and the President, across the board, prepared, Marco Rubio, the whole team, prepared to make a great deal that would benefit Iran. They choose not to, and as a result, they're going to meet United States Central Command again tonight in the way the President laid out clearly. Yeah.
And now Donald Trump posted a warning on his Truth Social account that raised the stakes dramatically. He wrote that the United States will be hitting Iran very hard tonight. He said Iran's Navy, Air Force, and defenses are completely gone. And then he went further. He said the US will take Kharg Island and assume total control of Iran's oil and gas markets. Rhetoric or not, it certainly is escalating by the minute. He compared this plan to what the US did in Venezuela, which he called working out brilliantly. But since the United States removed Nicolas Maduro from power in January, revenues from Venezuelan oil sales have been going directly into a US Treasury account. Is that the plan for Kharg Island as well? Big question marks there. And Donald Trump is signaling that he wants the same arrangement with Iran. Whether that's going to happen or not, well, we don't know. Should Iran even be compared with Venezuela? That's another point. But why does this threat to Kharg Island matter so much? Because Kharg Island handles nearly 90% of Iran's entire oil exports. If the US targets or seizes Kharg Island, it will completely cripple Iran's main source of revenue, leaving the government with near zero economic leverage. Control of this single island would give Washington ultimate negotiating power. But any disruption here will send shockwaves through the global energy markets, causing oil prices to spike worldwide. Many analysts now worry that fears over the regime's survival could lead to unpredictable retaliation from Iran. Two very important voices on the show tonight, and the big questions that we're trying to underscore. If the US strikes Kharg Island's oil infrastructure, how quickly could that tip global oil markets into a crisis? That's question number one. The second one is that Donald Trump has drawn a direct parallel with Venezuela. Is that comparison even realistic? Or is Iran a fundamentally different challenge altogether? Chalk and cheese, as they say. Tehran also says it will not negotiate under any military pressure. Is there any diplomatic path left at all? Or has this war moved beyond the deal-making that we really see? Jayant Krishna, Senior Fellow, Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, with us on the broadcast, and Major General Sudhakar G, Defense and Geopolitical Expert, with us on the broadcast as well. General, many thanks for taking up the time. And Mr. Krishna, always a pleasure to have you with us here on News 9. General, first and foremost, Pete Hegseth says you have a choice. But this latest threat about taking over Kharg Island. Now, I know we've seen rhetoric time and again. We've seen both the leaders blink time and again. We've seen both parties come to the table, put their hands on, show some kind of strength, and then take them off again. This new rhetoric, put those statements into perspective for us. I'm going to bomb you very hard tonight, and US in the near future is going to control all oil points and infrastructure of Iran. General.
Yeah, Kabir, good evening. Thank you for taking me for your show, and my warm greetings to very distinguished and accomplished co-panelists. My take on the whole issue is it's one thing to come out with rhetorics. It's another thing to actually face the reality on ground. The reality today is that Kharg Island is approximately 450 kilometers away from Strait of Hormuz. And this 450 kilometers is along the Persian Gulf. This island is 8 kilometers by 5 kilometers in dimension. All the AD air defense guns and the artillery guns, the rockets which were deployed earlier, as per the satellite imageries, they have been destroyed in the 40 days conflict by USA forces. Also, the oil rigs, some of them are in state of disrepair. But one has to keep in mind that this Kharg Island is just about 25 odd kilometers from the coastline of the mainland, that is of Iran.
Yeah.
It's quite close to Kuwait and Iraq. Why am I bringing out this is that during Desert Storm 1 and 2, USA forces, they had made an attempt to carry out some maritime validation exercise. So maybe I really don't know whether the institutional memory will hold out or not. But fact remains that Iran is not unprepared. Iran has got coastal batteries. It has got the mainland, that is the mainland, the coastline, which is about 25 kilometers away. It has got the anti-ship missiles. It has got the rockets. It has got artillery. It has got all kinds of counter defensive architecture. In case of an offense comes, it is going to come in the following method. First and foremost, going by the news reportage, most probably 82 Airborne Division is going to be employed. They will be launched by the aircrafts from high altitude profile. They will come and land here, but after landing off the airborne forces, there is a thing in the military science called a link-up. Unless the link-up, generally whenever such kind of operations are carried out, the supply chain link-up means the logistic echelons and the fighting echelons, supporting echelons, they have to come and link up with the main combat element. Now, the link up here is 450 kilometers long. That is from Strait of Hormuz. Until Strait of Hormuz is fully cleared. Fully cleared means that the Komesh Island and the coastline which is parallel to it, it is actually filled with mountains. During one of my visits, I hope I am able to explain, these mountains or the hill features, they are in layers. One layer is up to 6,000 feet. The second layer is up to 9,000. Third is 12,000. So what am I trying to bring out is merely making the combat elements land by airborne force at Kharg Island is not enough. They have to be protected by capturing these mountains from where the rockets, the missiles, the anti-ship missiles, etc., etc. As also there is a thing called a coastal battery. The coastal battery has got different kinds of inventories. They have got speedboats. Speedboats are mounted with long-range weapon system. They have got the rockets, they have got the missiles. They have got anti-ship missile, which has been provided by China recently. Although the efficacy and the efficiency of these missiles is anybody's...
but they shot a Black Hawk down, General. They've already shot a Black Hawk down.
They have already shot a Black Hawk down. You're talking about the Apache day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to bring out is never underestimate Iran even now, despite the fact...
But the question here is, the bigger question, General, should we underestimate the United States as well? I know so many rhetorics, but this time it seems like you never know what's going on in the president's mind. And Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, coming out and giving us his opinion as well. Let me bring in Mr. Krishna as well. I'm going to circle back to you. Mr. Krishna, what's your assessment here? Of course, what happens to commercial shipping is a completely different ballgame altogether. What happens to the blockade? Iran has already hit out at some of those maritime vessels. What's your assessment and reading right now? Do you think this is actual escalation or mere rhetoric without any teeth?
Actually, it's an actual escalation. I don't see it's a mere rhetoric. One thing is very clear: the ceasefire of 8th April has collapsed. There is no doubt about that.
But that's been
There
clear for the past week or so
two
now.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what is important is that the kind of adverse impact it's the war has had in the last few months, on the entire energy security of the world, the oil prices, and so on and so forth. Let's not forget that. The World Bank has already lowered the global growth forecast. It used to be 2.9% last year. It is 2.5%. And this is the lowest since the pandemic. So it's really unfortunate what's happening today. And, US has attacked the tanker, Iranian tanker Santebelo. Another vessel, MV Jalveer, was also attacked. And so three vessels have been attacked, and they have very clearly said that they'll take total control of the Kharg Island by the US, and that is very, very strategic for overall oil infrastructure and oil market. And US will eventually, they think that what they did with Venezuela, the same thing they can do with Iran also, and take the entire market control and ownership of
There's one
running
more aspect here, Mr. Krishna. I'd like your viewpoint on that as well. You see, we've been talking about it. It's been about more than 100 days now. General has been with us right from the very beginning. We've been seeing how this entire chaos has been spread to the entire Gulf. Now it's raining missiles over the Gulf skies yet again. Iran has been playing this, little game of bringing in, maximizing the chaos so as to bring more players into the, battlefield. The Iranian regime, I'm reading out a post that's been put out by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. He says, the Iranian regime will lose this zero-sum game it is playing. Any damage it inflicts on our allies in the Gulf will be paid with the funds extracted from the Iranian accounts. Any tolls paid to the Persian Gulf Strait Authority will be offset by funds extracted from their accounts. Do you think the United States has finally found a way to nip this particular loophole that the Iranians were trying to exploit?
See, I'm no military matter expert, but from whatever I see, it's going in a very, very unfortunate direction. US has attacked, and if you look at Iran as well, it has retaliated. It has attacked the US bases and US establishments in Bahrain, in Jordan, in Kuwait, and so on and so forth. And so I think and US has said that if they don't immediately agree to a peace deal, the repercussions will be huge, and they'll go all hog for attacking Iran left, right, and center. You spoke about the Strait of Hormuz earlier, so I think there's utter confusion. US says that it is still the passage is still on for oil and merchant ships, whereas Iran says no ship will be allowed, and any ship which goes through that strait will be attacked. So things are going in it is the statesmanship all over, at its brink. And let me tell you very clearly, no country ever wins a war. Even if you look at the earlier phase of the war, who can say that Iran did Iran win? Did the US win? Did Israel win? So I think it's only a question of relative losses being high or low.
No country wins a war. Let's bring in a soldier's perspective here. General, what do you say on that particular front? Would you agree? Do you echo along the lines of what Mr. Krishna here is saying? The United States' attacks on Iran has reduced the ceasefire to utter nullification. That's the word coming from Iran. Pete Hegseth, we already know what he means to say, and the kind of deal that Mr. Bessent and Marco Rubio have put on the table. If tonight is another one of those major escalations in terms of missiles pounding Iranian sites, what do you think is going to happen? Let's not jump the gun in the next 24 hours, let's say.
Okay, firstly, allow me to admire the statement of Mr. Jayant. No country wins a war. It's a soldierly statement. Must compliment him. He's factually right. Until the objective is actually stated. In the instant case, neither USA nor the Israel, they have actually a stated political or the military objective, although it has been, in retrospect, they have come out with some kind of a clarity. But this, in exception, we are talking about capture of Kharg Island. When you capture a Kharg Island, it is to be understood that mere going and landing troops there is not good enough. They may go in physically. What I'm coming to is the boots on ground. Now they will start applying boots on ground. Mere aerial devastation is not good enough to capture any objective. One. Number two, what is important is after the capture. After the capture will be the counter attack by the defender. That is, Iran is going to come back and play merry hell. They will rain down everything, missiles and anti-shipping means and methods. Most important thing is they have got the anti-personnel and the anti-tank mines or the anti-ship mines. These mines are very dangerous. Take your mind back to 1988, sometime in April. The whole conflict, USA was compelled to attack Iran in 1988 because one of the ships was nearly went down, it sunk down by virtue of one mine having actually hit some portion of the ship. So if that thing takes place, it is not but the airborne troops who are going to land there. They have to be supported by the logistic means. For logistic support, like Mr. Jayat has brought out, that until the Strait of Hormuz is clear, there will be no smooth passage. It is still dominated by IRGC. So therefore, it's a tall order. In my opinion, it is just kind of a rhetoric which is being exercised to make Iran, buckle down under pressure, which I don't think Iran will settle the agreement on its own terms. It is not going to toe up or measure up to the expectation of the USA. If at all they want some kind of a peace or lasting peace or some resolution, the USA will be expected to scale down its demands. Only then there will be some kind of a lasting peace. Otherwise, I do not visualize. Now, last point that you asked me, like how do you expect the 24 hours to pan out? They will carry out bombing. They will do, this is called a pre-HR bombardment. They will soften the target. They will pulverize. All kinds of weapon platforms are going to be reduced. They will be razed to the ground. But Iran has to be studied in detail by the military specialists because despite the bombardment and the destruction they have been subjected to for past 90 odd days, still they're holding out. What is the miraculous, what kind of infrastructure they have built 600 meters under the ground? How are they connected? How is the supply chain? How are the people defending? So this is a subject which needs to be studied as a case study subsequently. But at the moment, I do not visualize this attack of Kharg to go through going by the basic tenets of military teaching successfully in favor of USA. If at all they're going for it, they have to be prepared they have to enhance the appetite of Americans to receive body bags, and the body bags are going to be far too many, not within the acceptable limit.
So bloodshed is also on the cards. I agree with you. Anything can happen. Before I bring in Mr. Krishna, my final question to you, General. You see, Donald Trump's threat is certainly reigniting the speculations of a possible U.S. ground operation. Whether it's impossible or possible, that's something totally different. And you already alluded to that in your opening submission, that dropping your 82, airborne division is one thing, but to actually link that up with the supply combat and the actual mission objectives is something totally different. But do you think this could possibly a genuine plan, or this is again just bluster that's aimed at bullying, Tehran, its adversary, into some sort of capitulation to come back to the table? Because it's been happening for so long. Something's got to give, and maybe this real estate, this businessman who's at the helm of affairs in the White House is getting a little frustrated.
I agree with you, Kabir. If you recall, in your channel only, you are the anchor. I have stated quite often that the hidden objective and agenda is to restore the dominance of petrodollar sooner or later. They can achieve it provided they successfully push back the Chinese domination and their linkages with the Iranian oil. They can do it as far as Iran is concerned, provided they have a full hold completely without any interruption of Kharg Island. They can do that provided all the surrounding areas which can bring down effective fire of counter bombardment or retaliation against Kharg Island. Kharg Island, as on today, they have got IRGC, they have got the paramilitary forces, Bajis forces are there, they have got the speedboats, they have got the coastal battery, they have got host of other things, mines, anti-personnel mine, anti-ship mines, etc., etc. So to me, it appears to be a very tall order, but if push comes to shove, if this is the objective which they are going to achieve, then they have to do the following things. Firstly, there are 3 layers of mountains which I have explained. They have to identify the vantage points of these mountains from where Iran can bring down effective and accurate missile standoff attack with the help of missiles or drones or any of the kind of weapon system they have. So they are in three layers: 6,000, 9,000 feet, 12,000 feet. All the three layers of the hills or the ridges, they have to be held by the ground troops. To hold them, carrying out airborne division. Division has got 15,000 odd troops.
Yep,
So let's say one brigade goes for the Kharg Island, and two brigades, they have to remain, at least one has to remain in reserve, and they are left with one spare brigade. I'm given to understand from the open sources, they have mustered some additional forces. My long and short is, to save on time, total requirement to have a successful operation of capture of Kharg Island is 1 crore, 1 crore. 1 crore. 1 crore means three divisions. Means 45,000 to 50,000. As on today, in the entire Middle East, they have got a total military population of 50,000. They don't have combat troops, as I am explaining to you.
No, you're absolutely right. But then again, you see, you're right. They have the Basij forces. They've got the Coastal Guard as well. In the rescue operation of when that Apache went down, you know that the sea drone made its debut. And it was a crazy debut at that, General. In the pitch darkness, an unmanned speedboat goes in, rescues those, the two crew out. I mean, it's nothing short of a Jason Bourne movie, nothing short of a James Bond film as well. But many thanks for, helping us understand what's really at play. My final question to Mr. Krishna here as well, because you spoke about the petrodollar. Oil prices rose about $2. Brent crude futures increased to $94.16 a barrel. The minute you think that it's sort of like softening down, it's sort of getting to a lull, something or the other happens. You've got Donald Trump and his friends making a lot of money on that front as well. Now, whether this is straight up oil market manipulation or he really wants a peace deal, those are two different things. But in the space of a few minutes after Donald Trump's threat, the oil market really goes into a frenzy. We have learned over the last 100 days what the oil market can throw at us. But if this Kharg Island takeover actually happens, it's going to throw the entire market into a panic. Are we wrong in reading that assessment?
So, if the Kharg Island is taken over by the US, my thinking is it won't happen. They'll fall short of doing so. Because if they do that, there'll be no peace deal at all. See, US has also been playing double standards, right? I mean, for long, US said that, almost all the ingredients of the peace deal are in order, except that Iran is not agreeing to stop or slow down its nuclear program, right? That seemed to be the only irritant which time and again Trump administration authorities have talked about, right? And so one doesn't know, is that the actual irritant which was not causing the peace deal to be signed, or it is actually the dream of the US to control the Iranian oil? So I think it's a very, very difficult situation. I hope that whatever US does in next 24 hours, it is confined to Iran's military surveillance and radar sites being attacked, and it doesn't go too far on capture of Kharg Island, because it will be very, very bad, and then a point of no return would come. And it will be very, very, very difficult to get Iran back on the negotiation table. Almost impossible.
That's a very credible point. I've completely run out of time here. General, my apologies. I've run out of time here. Because of this and the energy requirements, the ethanol is another aspect that we have to look at, back here at home as well. That's the other segment that's coming. My other guests are waiting. But, this has been a riveting conversation. Like I've been saying, let's not jump the gun. Let's hope that good sense prevails. General spoke about the possibility of body bags and, of course, the mammoth of a task if Kharg Island really has to be, taken over, and if the boots on the ground really happen. The petrodollar angle, the oil market assessment that, Mr. Krishna has also given us. And what's unfortunate is that earlier 3 Indian sailors were also killed in that US strike on a ship in Setobello near Oman on Wednesday. So all of this is happening. It's all happening in real time. A Qatari negotiation team, we're learning, has also returned back from Tehran. So, from pillar to post, a lot of hectic parlays that are already underway. Let's hope that good sense prevails. I think we're going to leave it at that and vouch on News 9 to bring you all the latest details. General, always a pleasure to have you with us. Mr. Krishna, many thanks for your insightful inputs.